It's time to rank the best players in the NFL this 2023 to 2024 NFL season. I've seen enough football to finally answer these questions. Starting with the defensive line, nose tackle Dexter Lawrence has been the only bright spot on this very sad Giants team. He continues to just dominate at the line of scrimmage with relentless strength and power to destroy most one-on-one matchups. For a man his size, he tends to pursue quarterbacks at an alarming rate, so alarming that he is still second in pressures with 53 and has gotten 5 sacks along the way. He also clogs running lanes often with simple block sheds that throw off most teams' rushing attacks. And if you want to find a reason on why the Jets vs. Giants game was so bad earlier this season, look no further than this man. He wrecked the entire game with 15 pressures. Next up, we somehow are still talking about this man, Aaron Donald. He is still one of the most disruptive guys on defense. Even though he is still double teamed on 62% of plays and even triple teamed at times, he is still first in pressures with 54 and has the third most sacks out of all interior defensive linemen. I guess the GOATs just play good forever. Moving on to the edge rushers, we got Max Crosby and Myles Garrett. Max has been in the top 5 conversation for about 3 years now in my opinion, but this year there is no debate. He is third out of all edge rushers with 64 pressures, tied for 6th in sacks, and has the most tackles out of all edge defenders. Did you also know that he has the most defensive snaps played out of any edge rusher this season? Super durable and a great leader, he has played his entire career with the Raiders, and you never see him angry or his emotions follow him into the mainstream. He's humble, and that's a prime example of a true leader. He plays hard every snap and never gives up. Something you can't say about a lot of other players in the NFL. Now, Myles Garrett is putting together a Defensive Player of the Year type season. Currently 4th in sacks and has the highest pass rush win rate and 2nd in forced fumbles, while also being the driving force behind this #1 Browns defense. Did I forget to mention that he is also double teamed on 32% of passing plays, which is the highest rate in the league out of all edge rushers. We've seen so many highlight plays from him this season, from him dribbling into his pass rushes to tight ends following him around the field to ensure they get a double team on him. Due to new defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, Myles Garrett is constantly moving around the defensive line, which is a big reason why his play has been so impressive this season. Teams can try and game plan to stop him, but his explosiveness combined with his unreal power makes him virtually impossible to stop at times. Let's move to the second level of the defense, the linebackers. And nothing has changed since last year. I'm still going with Roquan Smith and Fred Warner as the best backers in the game. 2 guys who are athletic, versatile, and have high football IQ. Whether you want them to disrupt passing lanes, be a capable run stopper, or be the leader of a defense, they both can accomplish that at a high level. Roquan has proven to be a sure tackler and a guy who's quick to read the play and always be in the perfect spots to disrupt the play. On short yardage running situations, he is usually the first guy to make contact, as he is so fast to shoot into the running lanes and bring the running back down consistently. Fred Warner, on the other hand, possesses coverage skills so good that you think the 49ers are running a big nickel package, but instead you just have a linebacker who works sideline to sideline hawking the field. And if you watch him play, you'll notice he's usually never at a place. His instincts and feel for the game have him positioned so he is always making an impact on the field. I will say his tackling mechanics have been a weak spot of his game this season, as he missed 16 tackles on the season, and that's probably due to the fact that he goes for a lot of strip tackles. But going forward, I do believe this part of his game will be better. The defense as a whole was on a little bit of a slide from week 6 to 8, but with elite technique and high football IQ, Warner will have no problem remaining at the top of his game throughout this season. Finally, we got the no-fly zone, and we are taking 3 cornerbacks and 2 safeties here since nickel is the most popular defensive package in the NFL at this point. At free safety, I'm going with Antoine Winfield Jr. I've talked about him several times this season because there has not been a more impactful defensive player in the secondary this season. Whether it's game-changing sacks, forced fumbles, or pass breakups, he has made so many big plays this season, like this one. At strong safety, I'm going with Ravens' Kyle Hamilton. Second-year safety has been kind of amazing. I know a couple weeks ago he pulled off this insane pick 6 against the Browns to not only jump and deflect the pass, but to catch it and walk into the end zone for a touchdown. That's cold, young man. That is cold. I mean, put him up at the line of scrimmage blitzing and he's sacking your quarterback or deflecting the pass. Put him in the box and he's coming down and making the tackle. Have him play one side of the field and he has the ball instincts along with the athleticism to cover so much space and disrupt the pass. In one-on-one man coverage, he can hold his own as well, as his 6'7" wingspan really comes into play here. where he has the ability to punch or bat balls down before the receiver even gets a chance to catch it. With that in mind, on 20 targets this season, he has only allowed 10 receptions for 61 yards and only 1 touchdown. Let's move on to the cornerbacks, where I'm selecting another 2-year player from the Cowboys, Mr. Ballhawk specialist Dion Bland. And I know you saw his stat line against the Seahawks, where he got absolutely cooked by DK Metcalf for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but one awful game doesn't dictate your entire season's performance, because aside from that one game, he has been phenomenal. For one, he has set the record for most pick sixes in a season with 5. He leads the league with 8 interceptions total, and aside from that Seahawks game, he has only allowed 1 other touchdown to Devonta Smith. Bland has such good discipline and instincts as a cornerback. Whether it's man coverage or zone, you really don't see him get beat. He's attached to wide receivers' hips and reads them like a hawk. And obviously his breaking onto balls is the best in the NFL, but he's not chasing it like other cornerbacks in the past. When Marcus Peters did it, he was baiting and chasing and looking for those opportunities, and eventually it caught up to him and got him cooked. Bland is patient and doesn't put himself in dangerous positions to get beat. Trust me, he is still an elite cornerback regardless of his most recent performance. Next, I'm going with Sauce Gardner. There is no sophomore slump for this star cornerback, as he refuses to get beat. He just doesn't give up big plays or miss tackles when wide receivers do get the ball. His stats might not be as impressive as last season, and wide receivers avoid his side at all costs. He's so smart and disciplined for the position, which is why the Jets remain such a nightmare on the defensive side of the ball. Aside from the Bills game in Week 1 and Week 11, where he had one of his worst games ever, he has still been a true lockdown cornerback. And my last cornerback is Marshon Lattimore. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but I just respect his game so much. He's that physical in-your-face cornerback who loves to challenge and press the top wide receivers. He never shies away from competition. Now, his stats may not be the greatest, but he's still that dude. I mean, he's been getting the best of Mike Evans for his whole career now. That's gotta mean something. Throw in the fact that he's only allowed 1 touchdown all season and 6 pass breakups. Gotta love his game. Now, even though this video was filmed before he went on IR, I will still keep Marshon Lattimore in there because his game has been so impressive this season. If you enjoyed the video, cool. And if you want to see the best offensive players this season, there is a video right above you, so click that and find out what my answers are.